understood that the civil rights movement will not be completed until those kids have educational opportunity. And he became a principal back in Denver High School. Now he's a primary education reform guy on Obama's team, and he realized he now is doing something that is fulfilling. It is, without that, there will be no completion to the civil rights movement. He learned that in Delta. And that's lifted up here in this letter. Education. It's got to bring us together. And this other myth, you want to put the myth of a post-racial society to bed forever? Here's how we do it. The truth, the Bible says, truth about a society is known best from the bottom and not from the top. Don't give me pictures of corporate diversity to tell the story. Go to the criminal justice system in this country. Read Michelle Alexander's New Jim Crow. Read what's happening in our prison. Read about what happens to arrests and convictions and sentencing for people of the same crime in the same place, but different color of their skin. The criminal justice system shows that racism is alive and well in this country. So I got invited once to come to speak at Sing Sing Prison. Brothers wrote and said, we hear you write books and come talk to people, read your books, come talk to us. I said, sure. Rebecca, sounds good. When can I come? When should I come? They said, well, we're free most nights. We're kind of a captive audience here. I went up and spent 4 hours at Sing Sing with these New York Theological Seminary. Has a program inside the walls. Masters of Divinity are being trained inside the walls. One young man told me, he said, you know, Jim, we're all from the whole prison, 5 neighborhoods in New York City, almost all of us, 5 neighborhoods. It's like a train starts in my neighborhood. Get on that when you're 9, 10 years old, you end up here at Sing Sing. But I've had a conversion, I want to go back and stop that train. 2 years later, I was back in New York, and there he was, back home, emceeing a meeting on poverty, stopping that train. Darren Ferguson saw him 2 nights ago in New York. I got to do the commencement for the seminary. First time I had to go through security for a commencement. Criminal justice. This could bring together people of the left and the right to attack the criminal justice system foundationally as a justice issue for us. Now I'm going to get personal. I got a wonderful pastor, Dr. Jeffrey Haggard, First Baptist Church, Washington, D.C., who couldn't stop speaking for 3 years about the beloved community. He talks about the perfect love that casts out fear, and Jeff would take these prayer walks around D.C., and he would see how the demographics are changing in D.C. It's an amazing town. Immigration, international, it's an amazing town. And he would walk the streets for hours looking at who was there, imagining them being at First Baptist, a place that would be created to welcome them in. But we'd have to change. He always wanted me to preach, but I preach during the week all the time. I want to sit on Sunday and listen to somebody feed me. So I said, no, I did his installation, but that was it. Finally, I agreed to preach. And I said to this church, this First Baptist Church, I said, I know Jeff Haggard, and I know the black churches in this town around the country. Jeff doesn't want to have a black church. He wants to build a beloved community from the demographics of this city. But, I looked at them and said, but, let's be clear, this will no longer be a white church. This will no longer be a white church. On Sunday, the white power structure of First Baptist decided it would be a white church and ran Jeff Haggard out of the pulpit. I want to name it. First Baptist Church, Washington, D.C., ran Jeff Haggard out of his pulpit. Jimmy Carter went there when he was president, and I'll share that with Jimmy Carter in about 2 weeks. It was shameful what happened. And Dr. King in his letter talked about his little girl who said, Daddy, why do white people treat colored people so mean? On Sunday after Easter, My son, who's 14, his son Martin, Jeff's son, last Sunday after he sat in that church, in that meeting, when they ran him out, and he cried, why do they hate us so much? Now, they're a liberal church. They didn't like a black preacher who could play golf and preach, but he wanted to leave and change the church into a beloved community. He didn't resign, he vacated the place. I want to say, as a member of that church for 3 years, the gospel was dead at First Baptist Church in Washington, D.C. When that happens, we should say so. And name names and talk out loud. It is conformed to the pattern of this world, and that is not the way we worship the Lord. So, power, money, and race will control many of our churches. But Galatians says they're overcoming Christ. So we have to ask ourselves, what do we do now about this, what Chuck Todd called the demographic time bomb that hit American politics? No longer can you win elections in America, they say, with just white folks. I hope that's true, but you know what? Right. The old demographic is still running the country. Right. The old demographic is still running the country. If we take these words seriously, it means we have to ask, how to be the church of Jesus Christ. Right. For and to and with the new demographic that is changing and will change America. By 2050, most Americans will come from Asia, Africa, and Latin America. Will there be a church ready to be with, to, and for that demographic? I'll close by saying, when he says to us in the letter that we're not to be thermometers, we're to be thermostats. We don't just record the temperature, we change the temperature of the country. I want to say there are churches, most of which will be nothing but thermometers. But there are churches now that will be and are being thermostats. First Baptist is a white social club. It's a thermometer. But there are churches in Washington, D.C. that are becoming thermostats to change the temperature and the climate.